You likely heard the news, right? The Last of Us Part 2 has been delayed indefinitely. We will not be able to play the game on May 29th. And I get that Sony did not provide a new date because they likely don't know it either. In this video, I want to go over the real reason behind this delay because it seems different than a regular delay, and also what this means for future games, including Avengers, Cyberpunk, and of course Ghost of Tsushima. So a like on the video would be super appreciated. There's really a ton to discuss, and let's go. SIE has made the difficult decision to delay the launch of The Last of Us Part 2 and Marvel's Iron Man VR until further notice. Logistically, the global crisis is preventing us from providing the launch experience our players deserve. Naughty Dog had a bigger statement up, and especially this part was interesting in my opinion. We want to make sure that everyone gets to play The Last of Us Part 2 around the same time, ensuring that we are doing everything possible to preserve the best experience for everyone. Iron Man VR was also delayed, but I would not be surprised if that was more because the developers just weren't able to finish it in time, because they of course had to work from home. Ryan Payton, the director on the game, tweeted out on March 30th saying, "Sorry for the radio silence, everyone. I've been in crisis mode since March 1st. And then continuing saying that everyone from the Camouflage studio is doing okay and making the most out of a difficult situation. And I would imagine that working on a VR game from home might be even more difficult because of the extra technology that you need to have that game running. It seems at least that they were having a hard time trying to hit that May 15th date. But for The Last of Us Part 2 it seemed different. The statement said that they were nearly done with the development of the game. We are in the midst of fixing our vinyl bugs, and Neil Druckmann, of course the boss over at Naughty Dog, confirmed this as well on the PlayStation Blogcast.
We're at the 1 yard line, I would say. There's still some bugs that we're finding, that we're squashing. We want to polish it as much as we can. Taking our time to review each section and making sure it's all Naughty Dog quality, and it's there. That's the frustrating part for us. It's like the game is there, and we have to sit on it for a little bit and figure out what's the best way to get it to our fans.
So that is good news at least. I do hope that this also means that the developers can now chill out more and take some time off. But yeah, this really means that the reason that they are delaying it is because they want to make sure that everyone gets to play the game around the same time. And we actually saw the other side of this with the Final Fantasy VII Remake. They went through with it, and it might actually be the last game that we see in a long time, but more on that a little later in the video. The problem with Final Fantasy was that they could not assure fans that they would get the game on time, even if they pre-ordered. Because obviously there are other packages right now that have way more priority than games. So what instead happened is that Square sent the physical copies out to people earlier in Australia and Europe. So stores then sent them out to people, and people were already playing the game on April 1st, more than a week before the April 10th release. Yes, spoilers are on the internet already, days before everyone is able to play it. Imagine that for The Last of Us Part 2, that people already got the game more than 7 days before the launch. You bet that if Joel, Ellie, or whoever dies in the game, it would be very hard to not know about it before you played. There was actually leaked footage of The Last of Us Part 2 already a few days ago that already got taken down, and that was of an older version of the game. Like, you can bet that if people got the game at home, they would be streaming it, they would be posting videos left and right, and sure, Sony can try and combat it all, but it will be impossible and spoilers will find their way. And also remember that we haven't even seen more than an hour of gameplay for this game. We had that teaser reveal trailer that might not even be in the final game, that brutal Paris Games Week trailer, and we still don't really know who this character is. The real gameplay was then at E3 that looked very good, and then more than a year later we have the release date trailer and some B-roll, and it's supposed to be the longest Naughty Dog game ever. So really anything, like the first few minutes, will already be a spoiler. Remember how amazing that The Last of Us 1 opening was? I want to experience that for myself and not see gameplay of that or reveals of that on YouTube because people are already playing before me. And for Final Fantasy VII Remake this was less of an issue because 1, it's a remake of an original, so people already kind of know the story beats, and also because they had a public demo that everyone could download. so people already knew how the game would play. And now people are asking for a demo for The Last of Us Part 2 to make the waiting a little easier, but Neil basically confirmed that it is not going to happen because it would take a ton of time to make. They would have to protect it way more than a press demo or a demo they could do at a convention. They did have a demo though, playable for the press, but the game has been significantly improved, Neil confirmed. So the B-roll that you're seeing right here is not from the final game. The game should be even better than this. So overall, they would rather just spend the time that it would take to make a demo on the full game to make that even better. But now people are asking, why not release the game digitally then? Then a lot of people will play it at the same time. And I was actually surprised to hear Neil say that they did not make a final decision on this yet.
One of the questions I think a lot of fans have been asking is, well, gee, why not just release this digitally in May on sort of the scheduled date? I don't know if you had any insight into how that might work or what the decision making is there.
Well, there hasn't been a final decision yet. Right now we're just reacting to a different it's a different retail chain, like whether like we could get physical copies to people, what is the internet infrastructure there to like support it in all countries. This is a worldwide game that people in every country are waiting for.
And no, I don't think that this means that we will still get the game digitally on May 29th. I mean, the game is now even gone from the PlayStation Store, and you will get a refund soon if you made the pre-order. Like, this makes me think that the delay might be even longer than we hoped, because Sony now basically says that they are willing to do a new pre-order push again when the world is in a better place and when the physical stores are open again. Because while the digital sales are rising, like way more people are buying their games from the PlayStation Store now than before, there are also still a ton of people that get a physical copy. In July 2019, we had the first time that the digital revenue was higher than physical revenue for Sony. So if you would go for a digital-only release for The Last of Us Part 2, it might mean that they potentially miss out on 20% of the sales. I mean, people will still get their physical copy at Amazon and via other online retailers, but midnight launches, in-store purchases and advertisements in-store would be impossible. What if you bought the collector's edition like me and heard that the digital release would be earlier? That would suck, right? Are you then going to wait for your physical copy or get the digital game? Like, there are a lot of things going on, and right now I really don't see a solution for the imminent future. Currently there are no other delays to report, but we will keep you updated. I'm sorry, but I really don't see a way that Ghost of Tsushima is going to launch in June. And this pains me to say, because this game is on the top of my hotly anticipated list, alongside The Last of Us Part 2. And one problem is already The Last of Us Part 2 that is moving, like they're not going to launch both games a few weeks apart. So even if The Last of Us Part 2 finds a spot in June, Ghost already has to move. But I think there are way more other reasons as well why this samurai open world game will likely not launch on June 26th. I mean, sure, we PlayStation fans know about this game, but Sucker Punch worked on it since Infamous First Light, that DLC in 2014. They need to reach a mainstream audience as well, and without any hands-on previews and big campaigns and other big events that Sony normally does to get games on people's radar, it will be very hard to give this game the time to shine. I've said it before in a previous video, but we will not know how this game plays until close to the launch, when maybe reviews hit if they went through with this June 26th release date. Because there's no way they can give people hands-on time with the game right now, and sure, the trailers look great, but it always helps when people say, hey, I played it and it's really good, before you spend your $60. You only launch a game once, and it would suck if people overlooked Ghost of Tsushima because it could not get the attention it deserves. So again, we have Final Fantasy VII Remake right now, and luckily that game is big and really a ton of fun. I will link to my recent spoiler-free video about it at the end of this video. But yeah, it will very likely be the last big new game that we get to play in a very long time. Because the next big one on the radar is Avengers on September 4th, and of course Cyberpunk right after that. But yeah, the same goes for those big games. They cost hundreds of millions to make, and if they cannot get that proper marketing campaign, and if the physical stores will not be open yet, or people will not have money to spend on games, then they will likely just delay it. Jason Schreier is setting us up for this reality, saying that he expects all the companies to delay their games. There seems to be a long drought ahead of us, and who even knows what will happen afterwards? Will everything just release at the same time? That doesn't sound right. I think Sony would rather release these games now and then focus on the PlayStation 5, because they likely have some PlayStation 5 exclusives that would likely look better than Ghost of Tsushima and Last of Us Part 2, that of course also run on the PS4. But maybe this will change. It's interesting for sure, although I would have preferred the regular rollout of course, but yeah, that's clearly not possible and I totally get that. The most important thing is that everyone is safe, of course, and at home. It's just nice to have cool games to play while you are stuck at home. But yeah, when we know more about those games, of course, I will let you know here. So totally subscribe for everything on The Last of Us Part 2, the PlayStation 5, Ghost of Tsushima, and way more. For now, I will speak to you next time. Check out that Final Fantasy VII Remake video, spoiler free, about the side content in the game that I really liked. And for now, I will speak to you next time. Goodbye!